Hey crafters, welcome back to my channel Because I'm Crafty. My name's Katelyn, and today I'm going to show you how I made these Christmas gnomes. Now I've seen these all over Pinterest, mostly the male version, but they are everywhere. They just seem to be all over the place, and I decided that I could totally DIY that. After seeing them, my mom decided that she really wanted to give a pair of them to my aunt and uncle, so I decided to make a girl version as well and put them together. I really like the idea of putting them together as a pair, but you can totally just make them one or the other. You can make them without the legs and just have them standing. There's so many different ways you can put them together, and look on Pinterest, there's a ton of different versions. So I think they turned out really well, and I think I only bought a couple of the materials. The rest I had just kind of scraps. So it definitely doesn't take a whole lot to make them, but it does take a little bit of time to figure out your shapes, but most of them are pretty simple as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get into it. So for this DIY, you're going to need some fur, some body fabric, some leg fabric, an accent color, some stuffing, some matching thread, some cutting tools, possibly a seam ripper, and some rice and baggies. So I'm cutting out my scrap fabric, which was a hem from pajama pants, and I'm cutting out a trapezoid shape, and I'm cutting out one slightly larger than the other so that the girl version is a little bit smaller. Then I'm going to take another piece and I'm going to cut out a mitten shape for the hands. Then I'm going to cut out some strips out of this nude fabric for the legs, and I'm cutting out a circle for the nose. I also have some little booty shapes cut out, and I'm cutting out a circle for the base part. Then I'm following the angle of my trapezoid and cutting out a triangle for the hat. And I also cut out a rectangle shape for a cuff look for the hat. And then I'm pinning my leg pieces right sides together, my boots right sides together, and my mittens right sides together. And I'm taking my little baggies, one for each foot and one for the base that will go inside the body, and filling them with rice. Then over to my sewing machine, I'm going to sew all those pieces that I pinned right sides together. Then those pieces that I sewed, I'm turning them right side out, and I'm putting the rice bags inside the boots. And I'm sewing my leg strips right sides together. And then I'm cutting out a rectangle to create a ruffle shape on my girl so that she looks like she's wearing a little skirt. And I'm turning my legs right side out and putting my boot inside. I sewed a base stitch onto my ruffle piece so that I could make a gather stitch, and I also hemmed the bottom. I'm going to take my fur piece, making sure that the fur is going in a downward direction, and I'm cutting out two little strips for the girl so that her hair matches up at the back. And I'm cutting out a beard shape for the man. Then I'm just using the leftover pieces to cut out some hair for the back of his head. And when you're cutting out the fur, make sure to just cut the fabric part and not the fur. Then I'm pinning those right sides together with my hat and sewing those together. And I'm putting a base stitch around the nude pieces for my nose, and I'm top stitching my feet to my legs. Then I'm putting a little bit of stuffing in the legs so they aren't as flat. And I'm using my tweezers to push the stuffing down. Now I just top stitch the skirt down on my lady version. Then I'm going to pin those right sides together to the body of my gnome and baste those down so they're held in place. And then I'm taking my right sides together and sewing up the back seam of the body. Found it easier to just sew up the back and then reinforce an area with some back stitches so I can unpick a hole to turn it right side out because the pressure of the fabric was pushing on it, so I decided to do it that way. Then I'll gather my nose and put a little bit of stuffing inside as well. And then I'm pinning the base circle to the body and attaching that. Then I'm turning it right side out. And I will insert my rice bag and stuffing to fill out the body. Now I'm taking my mitten shapes and putting a little bit of stuffing inside. And I'm going to take a hand sewing needle and I'm going to sew up the ends of the mittens. And then I'm going to hand sew them to the body of the gnome. So I made sure to turn in my seam allowance and pin them, and then I'm just catching each side of the fold and stitching them together, and then moving over directly to the gnome and catching the edge of the mitten and attaching it to the body. Then I'm going to make a tack spot down on the side of the body so it holds the hand closer to the body. Now the other one I want to make sure to leave loose because I'm going to attach their hands together so it looks like they're holding on to the love heart. So now I'm just gathering in my nose. And I'm going to take another hand sewing needle and sew the end of it shut so that it's all gathered together. And then I will attach it to the body of the gnome. For the man gnome, I'm just pushing some of his fur out of the way so that it's not caught in behind the nose. So now I want to hand stitch up the hole at the back. Now I want to hand stitch their hands together so it looks like they're holding hands and holding on to the heart as well. Then I just wanted to add a little bit of detail to the bottom of the feet to cover up my seam. So I cut out 2 small rectangular strips and I sewed them together to make cuffs for the man. And I cut out some longer strips for the lady so I could tie some bows around her feet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial making these little Christmas gnomes. They turned out really well and I think they'll be a perfect Christmas decor item. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you're going to be making something like this that you found on Pinterest. If you do make it, make sure to share it with me on Instagram or Facebook with the hashtag becauseimcrafty. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I'll see you next time, crafters. Bye!